Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX and I'm Megha Sharma. Let's take a look at the NewsX Deep Dive today at this hour. A mega airport project worth nearly 27,400 crore rupees with years of planning, land acquisition already underway and a promise to transform Chennai into an even bigger aviation and industrial hub. But now the entire plan has been scrapped. The Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Joseph Vijay has announced that the proposed Parandur Greenfield Airport will no longer be built at Parandur. The announcement came in the Tamil Nadu Assembly today, with Vijay saying his government stands with the people protesting against the project. But why was Parandur chosen in the first place? Why did the project face such fierce opposition? And why has Vijay decided to abandon a project that was being positioned as a critical landmark to Chennai's future? Let's break it down. First, let's take a look at Parandur and what it was supposed to become. Chennai's existing airport at Meenambak is facing the limits of expansion and capacity. The idea, therefore, was to create a second massive greenfield airport west of Chennai in Kanchipuram district. Parandur was selected in 2022 after several locations were considered. The site was seen as strategically important because it is close to the Parambur industrial belt and the Chennai-Bengaluru industrial corridor. The proposed airport was expected to be developed in phases, with first phase itself designed to handle around 20 million passengers annually. The long-term objective was much bigger, to create an airport capable of supporting Chennai's growing passenger traffic, cargo movement and industrial economy, and that is important because Tamil Nadu is not just an aviation hub, it is one of India's biggest manufacturing markets. Automobile giants, electronics manufacturers, technology companies and global supply chains have a major presence around Chennai and Parambur. So the argument from the previous government was straightforward. If Tamil Nadu wants to remain a manufacturing powerhouse, Chennai needs to be a world-class aviation infrastructure. Then came the problem, because an airport of this scale needs land. The proposed Parandur project requires roughly 5,000 acres spread across a number of villages in the region. Earlier, plans and acquisition exercises involving villages including Parandur, Ekanapuram, Nelvoy, Podavur and others, and this is where the project ran into its biggest obstacle. For the government, this was land required for infrastructure. For thousands of residents, however, this was their farmland, home and livelihood. Farmers feared that losing agricultural land would mean losing not simply property but an entire way of life. And the protests were not short-lived. Villagers, particularly in Ekanapuram, repeatedly opposed the acquisition. There were demonstrations, village-level resolutions and legal challenges. At one point, the farmers protesting the land acquisition were detained by the police. By early 2026, there were around 1,500 acres of land that had already been acquired, while the social impact assessment was examining the consequences for affected communities. But even compensation packages and proposed rehabilitation measures failed to end the resistance. The second major issue was the geography of Parandur itself. The proposed airport zone contains agricultural land as well as a network of lakes, tanks and water bodies. Environmental concerns centered around the possibility that large-scale construction could disrupt natural drainage and water storage systems, and that raised an especially sensitive issue for Chennai and its surrounding regions: flooding. Critics of the project argued that these water bodies were not simply unused patches of land, they function as part of region's natural drainage and groundwater systems. So the concern was that replacing wetlands, agricultural fields and water bodies with runways, terminals and concrete infrastructure could create consequences far beyond the airport boundary. For protesters, therefore, the argument became that this is not simply about losing land, it is about changing the entire ecological character of the region. So what changed with Vijay? This is where the politics becomes important. Vijay did not suddenly discover the controversy after becoming Chief Minister. His political movement had already opposed Parandur proposal, and during the election campaign, the issue became part of the broader political promise to residents who had been protesting against the project. Today, Vijay effectively fulfilled that promise. So what changed with Vijay? This is where the politics becomes important. Vijay did not suddenly discover the controversy after becoming Chief Minister. His political movement had already opposed the Parandur proposal, and during the election campaign, the issue became part of the broader political promise to the residents who had been protesting against the project. Today, Vijay effectively fulfilled that promise. So this is not necessarily a decision to abandon Chennai's second airport. It is a decision to abandon Parandur as the location. At the same time, the government is looking at expanding the existing Chennai airport. Plans are being discussed for another terminal, with the expanded airport expected to eventually handle significantly more passengers than its current capacity. Reuters reports that the state is targeting an increase from around 30 million passengers annually to 55 million through expansion. For years, Parandur was represented as a symbol of Tamil Nadu's ambition, a massive airport designed to power Chennai's next phase of economic growth. Today, it has become a symbol of something else, the limits of development when the people living on the land refuse to accept the cost. But now comes the harder part. Because stopping an airport is a political decision, but building the right airport at the right location without repeating the Parandur controversy, that is the real test of governance.